The Gambler by Fyodor DOSTOEVSKY. Retold by Catherine Skylirova. Chapter 8. The chair with the old lady was wheeled away towards the doors at the other end of the saloon. The general and his friends walked up to her to offer their congratulations. Her eccentric behavior had been forgotten thanks to her triumph. Consequently, the general no longer felt ashamed of his old mother. He was smiling at her cheerfully. He offered his sincere greetings to his mother. At the same time, both he and his friends were very impressed. All players in the casino were looking at the grandmother and talking about her. Many of them even walked beside her chair in order to see her better. The Greers expressed his admiration of the grandmother respectfully. Mademoiselle Blanche stared at her as though she was something curious. "Your game was brilliant. What a splendid victory!" cried the Greers. "Yes, I have won 12,000 gulden in gold," said the old lady. "This is 8,000 rubles," exclaimed the general. "Exactly," said the grandmother. "Potapych, Martha, see what I have won." Potapych and Martha came closer to the old lady. They kissed her hand respectfully. "How did you do it, madam?" Martha said it excitedly. "That is 8,000 rubles. Congratulations." "I'm going to give 50 gulden to each of you. There they are," said the grandmother, handing the money to the servants. Potapych and Martha took their money gladly. "And to each servant also I will give 10 gulden," said the old lady. One of the players took off his cap and congratulated the grandmother sincerely. "Give him 10 gulden too," said the old lady. "Now enough of that. Carry me away. Polina, I want to buy a new dress for you." "Yes, and for you too, Mademoiselle Blanche." "Thank you," said Mademoiselle Blanche gratefully. The general looked calmer when we reached the avenue. We saw a beggar walking in front of us. "Alexis Ivanovich, give that beggar 5 gulden," said the old lady. I approached the beggar and gave him 5 gulden. He looked at me in great astonishment. Nevertheless, he accepted 5 gulden silently. "Have you never tried your luck, Alexis Ivanovich?" asked the old lady. "No, madam. I wish to try my luck some day." "Then stake everything on 0. How much money do you have?" 200 gulden, madam. "Not very much. I will lend you 100 gulden if you wish. Take this money." As she gave me her money, she looked at the general sharply. "But you will not receive any money from me," said the old lady to her son. The general said nothing. "Look, another beggar. Alexis Ivanovich, give him 5 gulden too." As she spoke, I saw an old man approaching us. He looked like an old soldier. When I gave him 5 gulden, he stared at me threateningly. He didn't accept the money. He simply passed us by, murmuring something to himself. "He's a perfect fool," cried the grandmother. "Move on. I have to eat something. After lunch we will return to the casino." "What, you are going to play again?" I asked in surprise. "Of course. What else do you think? You may lose this time." "Your stakes are too big, madam," I said. "What has got to do it with you? It is not your money, it is my own," said the old lady. When we arrived at the hotel and met the landlord on the stairs, the grandmother called him to her side and boasted to him of her winning. Then we all went to the dining room to have a dinner. Then the old lady was very excited during the meal. She hardly could eat calmly. Martha was sitting next to her. "I was watching your game all the time, madam," said Martha. "And my God, the heaps of money were lying on the table. I have never seen so much money in my life. And there were so many people around the gaming table. I asked God to help my mistress during the game. Yes, I prayed for you, madam. I tremble when I think of it all." The grandmother's excitement seemed to rise even higher. "Alexis Ivanovich," said the grandmother, "after lunch get ready to go to the casino with me again. Now I will have a short rest in my room." I left the dining room without saying a word. I was too astonished to say anything. I sat in my room thoughtfully. I vainly tried to imagine what would become of the general and his companions. I could see that none of them had yet recovered their presence of mind. Grandmother's arrival, instead of the expected telegram to announce her death, had greatly upset the whole party, especially the general. Their schemes and plans turned into empty hopes. Moreover, they were afraid of the future performances of the old lady at roulette. Yet, another factor was more important than the first. The grandmother had mentioned twice that she did not want to give the general any money. That meant that she might not include her son into her will. Anyway, the Crayers and Mademoiselle Blanche had not fully lost their courage. Mademoiselle Blanche decided to use her whole resource of kindness in order to please the old lady. Yet now, when everything seemed to be lost, the grandmother was as merry as a child. Good heavens, I could hardly imagine how her 12,000 gulden had maddened the general and his friends. She was more willing to give her money to beggars than to her own son. This fact meant that she didn't trust her son. Yes, danger loomed ahead. All these thoughts passed through my mind during my stay in my room. I did my best to find threads which united the different actors in the drama. I didn't think of the methods and secrets of the game because Paulina had never been open with me, although at intervals it happened that she revealed to me something in our talks, but unfortunately her hints were not enough for me to understand the whole game. She had concealed a great deal from me. I had a strange feeling that now the end of this mysterious game was approaching. Another action and all would be finished at once. I didn't think of my own future. I possessed 300 gulden at the time. I had no job. Strange as it may seem, I didn't care for my future at all. My mind was full of Paulina. The thought of Paulina was torture to me. What I really wanted at that moment was to know her secrets. I wanted her to come to me and say, I love you. There was nothing else for me to want. I knew it was impossible, yet I had some small hope. I wanted to see her for the rest of my life. How could I ever leave her? When I went to the third story of the hotel, I experienced a shock. Something made me look around. Paulina was coming towards me. She beckoned me to her. Paulina Alexandrovna, shh, not so loud. She took out a letter from her pocket. Take this letter and hand it to Mr. Astley. Go as quickly as you can, please. I need no answer. To Mr. Astley, I asked in surprise. She nodded and walked away rapidly. So Paulina and Mr. Astley were carrying on a correspondence. However, I went away to search for Mr. Astley, at first at his hotel and then at the casino. I didn't find him there. I was on my way home when I came across him among a crowd of English ladies and gentlemen. They had been out for a ride. I handed him the letter. Was I jealous at that moment? I felt very depressed because I had no idea what that letter was about. Was there any love in the matter? Of course not. Reason whispered to me. I wanted to find out everything because it was becoming very complex. When I entered the hotel, the landlord told me that the general wished to see me immediately. When I entered his study and sat up beside him, I found there the general himself, the Grayers and Mademoiselle Blanche. They were discussing something emotionally in loud voices. As I entered the room, everyone stopped speaking and tried to act normally. The Grayers changed his angry face into a mean smile. Mademoiselle Blanche and the general didn't trouble to hide the anger that was visible on their faces. Alexis Ivanovich, began the general, I want to say to you that I find your behavior towards myself and my family very strange. In a word, it is extremely hard for me. No, no, interrupted the Grayers. The general is hesitating to tell you how things stand now. He wanted to ask you not to ruin him, because I asked impatiently. Because you have agreed to act as a guide to his old mother, answered the Grayers. She will gamble away all her money and property. Once she has got to taste of gambling, she will never leave the roulette table, and she will lose everything in her case. A gambler can never leave the game, and then, interrupted the general, you will ruin my whole family. My family and I are her heirs. She has no nearer relatives than us. I tell you frankly that my affairs are in great disorder. If she loses a large sum, or maybe her whole property, what will become of us? My poor children, Alexis Ivanovich, I beg you to save us. Tell me, General, how can I do it? I asked. Refuse to accompany her to the casino. Just leave her alone. But she would find soon someone else to take my place. Persuade her to leave this town immediately, cried the Grayers. Do not let her gamble. Find some reason for her to go back to Russia. And how can I do that? You can do it by yourself, Monsieur de Grayers, I said. Well, at present moment she would refuse to listen to me, said de Grayers. As he said this, Mademoiselle Blanche advanced towards me and took me by the hand with a smile. The general hastened to me and looked into my eyes seriously. Alexis Ivanovich, he began, we all beg you to save us. You understand us, don't you? He looked very pitiful. At this moment, 3 knocks sounded at the door. Then the doors opened, and Fetovich came in with Martha behind him. They came from the grandmother to tell me that she was waiting for me in her suite. Fetovich then added that she was in a bad humor. It was 3:30. She cannot fall asleep, explained Fetovich. She sent me to look for you. She is now on the veranda. Good heavens, exclaimed the general. I went out of the room at once. I found the old lady on the veranda. She was very excited. We'll meet to the casino straight away. You're all the escort I need, she cried to me. We went to the roulette salons once more.